Welcome back to the Tackling Basketball Podcast, everyone. My name is Evan.
I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Micah.
And we have an exciting episode for you today. We are, of course, celebrating the return of the NBA. Let's go.
Yeah.
We currently have the Nuggets-Lakers game on in the background. Let's go Nuggets.
Let's go Nuggets.
And this episode will be a bit longer than usual because we now have a lot more content available to us to go through. We are no longer grasping at straws to try and fill an episode. We are instead trying to find ways to cut this thing down. But with that being said, we'll hop into our toast and roast segment, and we'll kick it over to Jonathan for his toast of the week.
I mean, Giannis got paid. Just absolute massive contract, 3 years, over $180 million total, which is, I think, the second largest contract of all time, or very close to the top. Coda is having a lot of fun right now with Micah's notes. But, it was something that, honestly, a complimentary toast here, too, to Milwaukee and all of their fans, because there were talks throughout the last couple of seasons that this deal wouldn't happen and Giannis might seek another option in free agency. But because of the addition of Damian Lillard and the push to try and win another ring with them, Giannis decided to stay, get his bag, and everyone in Milwaukee is happier for it. So, cheers.
Oh yeah, because he made it seem very clear that he was not going to sign it this year.
Yeah.
Whether that's next year or the year after, just not this one. And without even a game being played, like a regular season game with Dame, he's already locked in and set, which, as a Dame fan, makes me really excited. This Milwaukee team is going to be good if he's this confident. It's all right, let's go. And
Yeah, and I think now Dame and his contracts perfectly sync up too. I think it was. I think this is exactly through the remainder of Dame's contract, because this is an extension, so he had one more year, and if I remember correctly, Dame has 4 years left on his deal that he had signed with the Blazers.
I think Giannis has a player option on the last year that's right around Dame's ending.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dame's 37-year-old, $65 million season.
AKA Dame's retirement.
It's still a crazy extension to me for Dame.
Oh, it's absurd.
All right, Micah, over to you for your toast.
I'm toasting the Las Vegas Aces, winning the WNBA championship back-to-back. Jonathan's patting me on the back because it's kind of rooting for the Liberty just because of Sabrina Ionesco. But I had money on the Aces. So
you did, yeah.
That's the second bet that I placed in the first season of this podcast that I'm not getting credit for, even though they hit. Just bullshit.
I did a lot better first season as well.
But yeah, they won the finals 3-1, and in that last game had a really, really tough, good game. They were out. Chelsea Gray was out, one of their starters. So pulling that win out against a very good, locked-in Liberty team that had won the previous game.
Yeah.
Really good showing. Congrats to them winning back-to-back championships. And they look damn good. They're going to be a team that can easily be a dynasty that is very slated to do this again next year.
This is the new Warriors Cavs, the Aces versus the Liberty. They are by far and away the two best teams in the WNBA, and someone might catch up, but as of right now, no one else is even close to the two of them. So, and the Aces are obviously the Warriors in this scenario because Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
All right, for my toast, obvious again, like Giannis, Lamar Jackson.
About time that we get to toast him.
Yeah, I know. Dude, he's kind of had a very up and down, inconsistent season so far, but on Sunday had 21 for 27 with 357 yards, 3 touchdowns, a 155.8 passer rating, which is almost perfect, about as close as you can get to perfect without being perfect. Followed up with another rushing touchdown and an additional 36 yards. Had a phenomenal day, and this is the Lamar Jackson the Ravens need if they're going to succeed this year. They need a guy who is pass-first oriented and is willing to just connect with his wide receivers, allow plays to develop a little bit, rather than just instantly panicking as soon as the ball is hiked and rushing out of the pocket. So if this is the Lamar the Ravens get for the rest of the year, the Ravens are going to be very dangerous. similar to what I said a couple weeks ago about Zach Wilson, though, Lamar has yet this season to have 2 games in a row actually go well for him.
Yeah.
So hopefully this is now, he's on the upswing here and can be a bit more consistent. But cheers to Lamar. Heck of a game on Sunday.
Cheers.
All right, now over to the roast segment, my personal favorite. And Jonathan, kick us off.
Yeah, so I wasn't expecting the announcement for City Edition jerseys to come this early. Like last year, I think that the leaks came in December and the official announcements were like late January. But we already have an idea of what the City Edition jerseys look like, and they are bad. I mean, it's like Nike forgot that there are other colors than gray. I don't understand. Yeah, it's like a couple of these jerseys are okay. Boston's I like, but it's like the same as they always have for their cities. Like Utah's a little interesting, but like every single other team is just like...
I think the only jerseys I like are Boston, Minnesota, and Cleveland, honestly.
I really like Minnesota's and Phoenix's.
Yeah, but this isn't a toast, guys. This is a fucking roast.
You're right.
What is this shit?
Okay, but I just named 3 of 30, so Nike's not hitting a high percentage, right?
Right, but you do have a good point. The Nets looks like a fucking kindergarten like carpet.
Yeah.
It's so gross.
Indy's like, is that Comic Sans for Indianapolis?
I think so. I don't like San Francisco's like direction of where the letters are going.
Honestly, the Blazers could have been good if they weren't the same as every other jersey this year.
Yeah.
I love embracing the plaid because of Portland and how many people, but like, this is what, the 3rd or 4th year in a row?
And we did it right the first time.
Yeah.
The first time was perfect, and then we just keep on doing it as good.
I want the Blazers cream jerseys back. Those have been my favorite Blazers jerseys in the last like 20 years. But of course, like, Nike just needs to not make new jerseys every single year. There's no point.
Yeah.
Like, just make a good one and roll with it.
Yeah.
This is also the second year Milwaukee's chosen their colors to be blue with like a green accent. It was like, why are you trying to be the Mavericks? Like, you were a green and white team. Like, just be that.
Yeah.
Also, is OKC's camo?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like great camo.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah. It's I hate it. I always look forward to the City Edition jerseys, and other than like the first Rainbow Skyline for the Nuggets, I've been mostly disappointed.
Yeah.
So,
I don't hate the Nuggets this year. Like,
yeah,
it was almost perfect. I don't like how bright the 5280 is, because like the mountain lines behind it, I think are really cool. And if it was just like that, I would like it a lot better.
Yeah, I also don't love the gray background, especially in the context of this year's cities.
Yeah, when every single one is gray.
And yeah, it's almost a little bit too comic-y, but yeah, there's so much potential here. You have so many opportunities to have fun, creative jerseys, and
it's weird too because Nike also does the MLB and the NFL, and in my mind, Nike has been doing a very solid job with MLB jerseys recently. The City Edition jerseys that have been coming out for the MLB have been pretty darn solid overall. This year's throwback jerseys that Nike has made for a lot of NFL teams have been fantastic. I mean, the Kelly Green Eagles jerseys from this weekend were freaking beautiful. But yeah, when it comes to the NBA, whoever the design team is for Nike for the NBA needs to be fired. Like, it's bad.
Yeah.
right.
I'm just gonna hope he was super rushed. He thought he had until like January, and then they're like, no, they're due today, and he just had a bunch of gray slates.
Yeah, he didn't even finish his concepts.
Yeah, he was like, all right, it's gray, and we'll throw in an accent color.
Yay! It's terrible.
All right, shift over, Micah, to you.
Yeah, so last week, I was feeling good. I was joyous. I didn't want to be hating on anyone, so all about love and everything. Well, that's no more because the goddamn Indianapolis Colts ruined the pattern. The Browns were supposed to lose this game. They were supposed to win every other one for the entirety of the season. That's how it was looking for a lot of this game. It was looking good. The Colts were going to win. And
they were going to complete a big comeback, too.
Yeah.
I put $5 on it when they were down 10, and that would have paid me like 25.
Yeah. It was great. They were looking so good. And instead, they just had to go and lose and fuck everything up and mess up the pattern. And look, I know they should have lost this game. The Browns are a better team than them. The fact that they were this close is truly remarkable and good for them. But fuck you for messing up the pattern and getting my hopes up that the pattern was going to stay. Screw the Colts. I hope they get decimated next week by the Saints.
Cheers. Cheers to that roast.
That's the passion we're looking for. I love this.
Hell
game.
yeah.
All right. For my roast, as per usual, I will now take up my soapbox and climb on top of it. Because this week, I am roasting NFL referees. And to be fair, you can roast NFL referees on pretty much a weekly basis. But this past week was really, really bad. So bad that ESPN, Sports Illustrated, Bleacher Report, Yahoo Sports, pretty much every sports outlet has now wrote an article saying NFL referees suck. It's a problem. The NFL needs to address it because of this weekend.
That's awesome.
Three main games that I want to point out. I'll try and make this brief so this doesn't last forever. Obviously, the Eagles-Dolphins game. I think everybody knows. I mean, all of Twitter was like talking how the refs were paid. Someone even actually found out that one of the refs on the crew was born, raised, and still lives 30 minutes away from the Eagles Stadium. Nice. And has actually been suspended before for unethical refereeing. So people were like, oh, that's what happened.
Yeah.
I doubt it, but maybe.
I mean, I can also say with certainty, these refs for this game did not have a firm handshake and good eye contact. That's
I didn't get that one.
No?
No.
Last weekend, the weekend before that we're recording, Mike McDaniels complimented the refs when he shook their hands right before the game. That's a solid handshake. Good eye contact. Thanks for respecting me. I'll show you the same.
I love Mike McDaniels.
Well, for the Dolphins, I mean, the Dolphins wound up having 10 penalties in the game. The Eagles had 0, and I know the Eagles are very disciplined, but it is damn near impossible to come out of a football game without a penalty. Not going to sit here and argue that the Dolphins would have won.
No, the Dolphins made plenty of
they made other mistakes,
mistakes.
but there was a blatant face mask call the referees missed when the ref was literally looking right at it when it happened. They called a roughing the passer call on a 4th down attempt by the Eagles.
That was absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that wasn't a call, and they had Gene Steratore come on and say, yeah, I would not have called that, and Gene Steratore is our holy lord when it comes to refereeing. What he says goes. So that was a miss. Other two games, though, the other one was Steelers-Rams. This is another one where I'm not going to argue that the referees cost the Rams the game, but very big situation. Couple minutes left in the game. Steelers were up, had the ball, 4th and 1, went for it, because if they got the first down, they'd be able to kneel out the clock, and Kenny Pickett was short of the line. Every single camera angle in the world showed that Kenny Pickett was short, and yet the referees still spotted it for a first down. Allowed the Steelers to just knee it out. Again, I don't think the Rams would have won if they got the ball back there, but still a really bad miss, especially when that's a play that gets reviewed. I don't know how you can look at all the reviews and still miss the call. The one game, though, I will say that the referees cost the game, and sorry, Micah, I'm going to argue in favor of the Colts here, even though you just roasted them.
I mean, the pattern, though.
But the pattern.
Yeah, fuck the refs, too, if they fucked up the pattern.
Yeah.
But.
I didn't watch the game. They messed up the pattern.
But what happened at the end of the Colts-Browns game was just flat out egregious. Browns were down in the red zone. They needed a touchdown to take the lead. There was less than a minute left. I believe on a 3rd down, the Browns fumbled the ball. Colts recovered, which means that the Colts would just have to take knees and the game would be over. After the play was blown dead, a flag suddenly came out, and the referee said illegal contact downfield on the Colts. They then showed the guy who committed the illegal contact, and not only was there no illegal contact, he didn't even make contact at all with the receiver. So Gene Steratore came on and was like, yeah, I have no idea what they saw and what they're calling. So but that gave the ball back to the Browns, reset the downs, moved them closer to the goal line, gave them another 4 downs to try. Again on 3rd down, throw into the end zone. They call PI on the guy, except the ball went into the stands. Literally, a fan caught it. The rule for pass interference is the ball has to be near the receiver. I'm not sure a ball going into the stands is able to be counted as near the receiver.
Yeah, right.
So Gene Steratore again came on and was like, yeah, that's a total BS call. There's not pass interference. You can maybe call illegal contact, but definitely not pass
He could
interference.
have jumped high enough.
So they passed interference in the end zone, then put the Browns at the 1 yard line with a new set of downs again. And they gave it to Kareem Hunt, who rushed it in. Colts lost the game.
On fourth down.
Yeah,
Like,
and Colts lost.
even still.
Colts lost the game after stopping them 7 times in the red zone.
Yeah.
And the refs just kept giving it to the Browns. And on the Pat McAfee show yesterday, he was livid, as he should be. I mean, I will very rarely say that referees are the reason the game went as it did, but the refs changed the outcome of that game. The Colts did what they needed to do, and the refs screwed them so hard. So, referees, y'all suck.
Maybe
Y'all need to get your eyes checked.
Maybe I should have roasted the referees for messing up the pattern.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it
Colts
was
still should have won.
it was bad.
We can roast the Browns, the Colts, and the refs.
Yeah. Everyone fucked up the pattern.
Off the soapbox. We'll now shift off to NFL Power Rankings. For the sake of adjusting some time, as we mentioned earlier, we'll be changing this format a little bit. We were really only going to be talking about our biggest risers and fallers this week. So, Micah, we'll start with you. Who's your biggest riser and your biggest faller?
Well, biggest faller, I think, is the same all across the board for us with the Packers.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're just damn near
I mean, the
unwatchable
Broncos
now.
are terrible. And they lost to the Broncos.
Just like every game I watch of the Packers after week 3 has just been like not fun to watch. It's just bad football.
Fucking tell me about it.
Glad I'm not a Packers fan like Evan. And then risers, I had a couple tied. There's no huge swings for me. The ones I'm really going to point out is the Jaguars and the Steelers, because both of them are on some massive tears right now. Jags have won their last 4 games, and Steelers have won 4 of their last 5 games. And they're playing each other next week, which I think is going to be a fun game. So I think both of these teams are like getting into stride, looking really good. Jaguars should have from the start kind of been playing this good. Steelers is a very fun surprise. That I'm really excited to keep watching this season.
Like you said, biggest faller, Packers. Not a whole lot to say there other than it was a pretty embarrassing loss, and if it weren't for another bad ref call that Gene Steratore also disagreed with, they would have scored at least 7 points less because that touchdown was supposedly an interception. Also, biggest riser for me being the Vikings. I mean, they are now 3 wins out of their last 4 games. To put them at 3-4 total. So it's almost certainly too little too late, but we're finally seeing a lot of what some people suspected this team was capable of, and we saw it this week against the 49ers, which is a really difficult opponent. So I think that they definitely earned a big climb up the board, and they're hoping that they can sort of climb out of that 0-3 pit that they started the season with and maybe fight for playoffs.
Since you both already called out the Packers, they were also my biggest drop, but I'm going to call out the Bills. The Bills, major red flags going on for them. They need to figure it out. Getting demolished like they did to the Patriots is just unacceptable. You can't have that if you're going to be a playoff team, which is why I
barely beat the Giants.
and barely beat the Giants. So the Bills have been struggling. I know they have a lot of guys out, but still, they should be better than this. And then I have the Patriots rising 6 spots because they demolished the Bills, which is just impressive. And honestly, it's not so much the fact that I love the Patriots. It's a bunch of dog crap teams all below them. So why not put them at the top, since they probably have the best win of that entire group so far this season.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. That we'll switch over to matchup of the week. Again, another time saver here. We'll be changing it to, we're no longer going to have 3 separate ones. We will just be picking one that we all agree on, which is far more difficult than we thought it would be, but here we go. And Micah was the one to call it out, so Micah, take it away.
Yeah, the game I'm most excited for is the Sacramento Kings versus Golden State Warriors. This is happening Friday evening. This was, in my opinion, the most entertaining matchup of the playoffs last season. It was one of the few that actually went to 7 games, and every game was like very close, very entertaining. I think these teams have bad blood with each other. They don't seem to like each other. Draymond Green stomped the living crap out of Sabonis. I think both of these teams are going to come out swinging and angry. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a very close and chippy game.
Yeah. First opportunity to light the beam.
Yes.
It's their home opener.
Light the beam!
And yeah, like you said, just very exciting series and something that at some point this season we're going to be missing. Luckily, we get a little bit of a taste of it again right at the start. So,
yep,
I'm excited.
Absolutely. Yeah. There are a lot of games to pick from, but yeah, I think you're right. Just in terms of competitiveness and how much these teams are going to be at each other's throats, there's not a better option this week.
All 3 of us nominated NBA though, so it is.
Dude,
it's a bad week for the NFL.
Yeah, no, the NFL. I was desperately looking for any game from the NFL, and they all suck this week. So
yeah,
there was a few that I was like Jaguars Steelers I thought could be entertaining. I think the Jaguars should win that pretty handedly. And then Bengals 49ers I think should be entertaining.
That's a decent one, yeah.
49ers on a skid and Bengals surging.
Yeah. All right, moving right along pretty quick here. Shift now over to NBA Power Rankings. This will, like the NFL Power Rankings, be a weekly segment now. This week, it's obviously the start of the season. We've literally seen nobody win a game yet. So these are just preseason predictions, essentially. And
we all have the exact same top 4.
All have the exact same top 4, which is fantastic. But just a quick thing here. Let's talk about who do you have just completely different than everybody else, and what is your justification for being so different?
Yeah, I was looking through these, and I was looking at mine and looking between them, and the ones that I had most different from you guys seemed to be in between the two of you. I felt like you two had the biggest separation until I started from the bottom, and that was until I got up to the top and saw Jonathan with the Raptors at 8.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so I put the East and the West in order of my predictions that I did for the season. I think that Raptors at 8 is probably not super genuine for the traditional power ranking sense, as in they're not the ones that have shown enough recently to earn their spot, but they are the team that I have pinched between the Cavs and the Sixers in my predicted standings. So I put them higher than I probably wanted to. But there was a little logic behind it.
Okay, that's fair. I'll accept that.
I think my different one is obvious. I have the Kings at 5. Micah, you have them at 12, and Jonathan has them at 14. Similar to Jonathan, I just put mine in the order of how I had them ranked. And the Kings dominated the regular season in the West last year. They were so freaking good, and I think they honestly got better over the course of the offseason. And in my mind, this isn't like the Thunder or the Raptors where they need to prove it to be ranked high. The Kings have already proved it. I think they need to unprove themselves to be ranked in the middle of the pack. I think ranking them high is very fair. I think they earned it. They lost to the Warriors in the first round, I know, but it's the Warriors. It's a highly experienced Warriors team. It was a literally haven't made the playoffs in 20 years Kings team. So I think the Kings will come into the season now with a bunch of extra experience, a lot of firepower. I think the Kings are going to be great.
I agree with everything that you said. And I think I did mine a little different from you, as I was taking this more as coming into this season, right now, if I was to pick who I think the best teams are, not where I think they're going to rank at the end. So I just think the Warriors are better with their personnel. Same with the Heat and the Grizzlies. Even the Grizzlies is very tough to tell, especially with that news of Steven Adams missing the season, which is a tough blow and really couldn't happen to a better dude. Steven Adams is one of the nicest dudes in the league.
For sure.
So that is an absolute bummer. But I love the Kings. I hope that they rise throughout the weeks, but I just think some of these teams in the league just are more powerful right now.
That's fair.
I also had the Warriors much higher than either of you. I think also I think it's part of a product of what Evan mentioned with his talk about the Kings. Like, they were in, they made it to the second round of the playoffs last year pretty dominantly. They continue to show that, like, age isn't, like, yet a factor to really consider. And they're all finally, like, going to be fully healthy for a season. So I think that the Warriors have a good shot to sort of rejoin the ranks that they once were in. They're not going to likely be super competitive for the for the championship, but I do like them to have a lot of success again this year.
Yeah, Blazers have their first round pick this year, which is why I've been so low on them and everything. This is more just out of hope. I hope age catches up to them and they don't perform well.
I agree. Well, this segment will obviously become more interesting, and we'll have much more in-depth analysis as the season goes on. I'm looking forward to next week to see just how much this changes up, since every single team is going to have, 2-3 games under their belt by the time we get to do this again. So that will be interesting. But now, I know the season is already technically kicked off, but we're going to do some NBA offseason trade grades. We're going to go through 3 of, in my mind, the biggest blockbusters from over this offseason, and just kind of talk about what impact we actually see the big-name players having on their new teams, as well as do we think the team that got the package for them is going to wind up feeling good about that. I will say up front, the Dame trade is so recent, and we already covered it. We won't include it in this because our opinions are not going to have changed since a couple weeks ago. So we will first kick off with probably the most confusing trade of the entire offseason. The Boston Celtics receiving Kristaps Porzingis, Marcus Sasser, and a 2024 first via the Golden State Warriors. Grizzlies received Marcus Smart, and then the Wizards, somehow getting in on this, received Tyus Jones, Danilo Gallinari, Mike Muscala, and Julian Phillips. We will start with the Grizzlies. Jonathan, how do you feel about the Grizzlies coming out of this? And do you think Marcus Smart is going to have a very positive impact for them this season?
Well, yeah.
Marcus Smart.
I know that was a dumb question, but it has to be asked.
I mean, this is going to be the biggest impact of any of these 3 teams, probably.
Yeah.
Really strong two-way player in Marcus Smart, who is sort of a lot of what the Grizzlies were missing, and also is going to be stepping up in a time that Ja Morant is suspended for an extended period. So I think that we see a whole lot out of him, especially for those first 40 games, and then even continued, he'll be a valuable piece for the team, probably help them a lot in playoffs too.
Yeah. I'm really excited just to see Smart and Triple J together.
Oh yeah.
Like, that is going to be a tough team to score on.
Yeah, it definitely make the Grizzlies interesting. The Grizzlies barely gave up anything in this trade somehow. So
Kristaps in the first, I think, were theirs.
Kristaps, for who?
What they gave up.
No, the Grizzlies. Kristaps came from the Wizards. So
Okay.
I think the Grizzlies gave up Mike Muscala, Jones in the first.
Yeah, Tyus Jones was definitely a Grizzly.
Muscala was a Grizzly, I think.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
The first
where
was certainly a
Gallinari
Grizzly.
was.
Yeah, but regardless, the Grizzlies are going to be happy about this. This is going to work out well.
Yeah.
And honestly, if I'm Marcus Smart, I know you're going from the Boston Celtics, who are a top contender this year to win the finals, but I'd be pretty happy because he's now out from under the shadow of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. It kind of seemed a little contentious there in terms of him being the third guy and not getting paid when Jaylen Brown was about to. But I think he'll thrive on the Grizzlies. So
Yeah.
good for Marcus Smart. The Celtics, though, in
Makes more
retrospect,
sense now.
in retrospect, now that they have Drew Holiday to replace Marcus Smart,
I'm like, this is great.
Yeah, this seems fantastic. However, at the time, we all thought the Celtics general manager was drunk because what are you doing? Also, to be fair, since watching the preseason, Porzingis has actually looked pretty damn solid with that Celtics team. He seems to have gelled with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown very quickly.
He was looking good on the Wizards, too. He was averaging 23.
And honestly, and even at the time, I do feel like Kristaps Porzingis, while I wouldn't get him in return for Marcus Smart, I do think Kristaps Porzingis was kind of exactly what the Celtics were missing, just a big to control the paint, because the guy they had doing that before was Al Horford and then kind of Robert Williams, but Robert Williams was still young, still developing. Kristaps already knows how to do that. They also lost to Grant Williams for whatever reason. So Kristaps, I think, was a good get. But honestly, this is looking better and better as time has gone on here. We'll see what impact he has over the course of the season, but I think it could work out well for them, honestly.
That first was part of the trade for Drew Holiday, too, so that's a good upgrade.
Yeah. No. It very much worked. Like, at the beginning, I was like, I didn't love Porzingis joining this team, like, with Marcus Smart leaving. It's like, I don't think his defense is anything to be, like, extreme. And, like, now you're going from 2 incredible defensive players to 1. But now getting Drew Holiday, and you have all this scoring at the power forward. Like, Celtics look real good now.
Yeah.
And then I think we can all just give the Wizards a big old shrug. Like, this was them.
No, they won. They won this trade.
This was them just saying, please somebody take Kristaps' contract.
Yeah. I'm surprised they weren't able to get, like, a pick for that.
They got Danilo Gallinari, which is better than a pick.
Debatable. All right, for the second trade, this is probably the biggest trade that went down this offseason. Suns receiving Bradley Beal, Jordan Goodwin, and Isaiah Todd. Pacers receiving Jerice Walker and 2 seconds. The Wizards receiving Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, a pick that they have now already turned into frickin' Bilal Coulibaly. 4 additional firsts and 6 seconds. Mother of God. Let's start with the Suns. Main person to cover here. We don't care about Jordan or Isaiah. Sorry if anyone out there is a really big fan of either of these guys. You're weird. Bradley Beal, how is he going to fit in with the Suns this season, and is he going to turn the Suns into the top contender in the West?
This was another trade that looks a little bit better once you factor in the further trades made this offseason, because if you remember, this one sort of demolished their depth. Left them with their big 4, which is a good thing to have, but nothing and no money. So looks a little better in context. I think Beal will be a really good addition for them. Time will tell. Still a little. It'll be interesting to see how he plays with the rest of this team. Like, how much does having a 4th stud on the offensive end of the court actually make a difference? Because this is somewhat of untreaded waters. So yeah.
I'm really big on this, especially obviously, take apart everything else that they gave up and gained later. If you look at this purely as a team that wants to make it deep in the playoffs, as saying we upgraded Chris Paul to Bradley Beal, that is a huge upgrade.
Yeah.
Especially when you're going against teams like the Nuggets, where Chris Paul really wasn't doing that much. This is huge offensive power, which they need if they want to beat the Nuggets. So
I might be the only person that's still kind of unsure about this. There's still part of me that feels like they already had their main scorers in D-Book and Kevin Durant, and what they kind of needed was a floor general, a guy to distribute and set those 2 guys up. And Bradley Beal can do that to a certain degree, but he can't do it at the level that Chris Paul is able to do it. And I'm just not sure I'm completely sold on the idea of just having 3 ball-dominant guys who just score a ton, because lots of teams have tried it, and not every team has succeeded. So
it'll take talented coaching, I think.
Yeah, it'll take talented coaching. But overall, I'm not sure I see where the successful ball movement is coming from and who's going to be setting the floor, because Booker isn't really fantastic at that. Durant's okay at it, and Beal's okay at it.
But now they got Nurkic.
Nurkic is freaking horrible
Huge
at it.
upgrade for me.
So we'll see how it goes. This will obviously still make the Suns a top contender in the West, but in my mind, if they wind up failing and not winning a championship, I could see it being because they're not able to successfully distribute the ball well and set their offense.
Yeah.
Pacers, much like the Wizards in the previous trade, not really sure how the Pacers got involved here and how they came away with 2 seconds and Jerice Walker, but they did.
Good job.
Yeah, cool.
It was a later addition to the trade.
Yeah.
This one happened around draft time, whereas the other one was a little bit before. And I think that they lost this trade.
Yeah.
Because they gave up Bilal Koulibaly in it.
Oh my god.
Genuinely, like, I know he's sort of a meme for me at this point, but I do really, really like his talent and upside. So I do not see anything nearly as positive in Jarvis Walker in my scouting of him. So,
I thought Austin Reeves was going to do something nice. Sorry.
instead, he just tackled the cameraman.
He got fouled.
And in the Wizards, obviously because of how Jonathan was talking about him, clearly the Wizards getting Bilal Koulibaly out of this makes them the winner of this entire trade. They also acquired 4 firsts, 6 seconds, Landry Shamet, and then Chris Paul, who they flipped for more assets. So I think with where the Wizards are at, this is definitely a win for them. I mean, they couldn't have expected to get more.
No, and this is exactly what they needed to do. Like, I love how for the last 3 or 4 years, people have been calling the Blazers the Washington of the East or West.
Really?
And vice. Yeah, because they're just teams that are like always kind of good but never doing anything, and having really good players that are never actually succeeding. And both teams did the same thing, this offseason. Like, getting off of Bradley Beal, who's been your star for the last 10 years or whatever, and then getting tons of picks, some young players, and a good player that's going to go to another team that thinks they could win for more stuff. I think this is exactly what the Wizards needed to do. They finally needed to just move on from Beal and restart and get some young talent.
Yeah.
And there was fear that they wouldn't get much because of the no trade clause.
Yeah.
There we go. But no, they walked away with a really good haul. So
for sure. And we alluded to it. Now we'll do the Chris Paul trade. Warriors receiving Chris Paul. Wizards getting Jordan Poole, Patrick Baldwin Jr., Ryan Rollins, 2027 second and 2030 first. Just adding on to the haul that the Wizards are getting. I can't stand Jordan Poole, especially yesterday he came out and said, "Oh, I'm now playing without pressure because I've already won a championship." Jordan, the Warriors didn't win the championship because of your ass, okay? Like, shut the hell up. But what do we think Chris Paul's impact is going to be on the Warriors? I still feel like I'm confused by this. I'm not sure the fit is going to really work out, but what do you guys think?
I love it. I think that the Warriors bench has been hugely suffering over the last few years, and to gain a guy that is primarily going to be their sixth man, coming off the bench, acting as the distributor for the rest of their offense, as other starters sort of trickle throughout the rotation, especially during playoffs when they shrink the rotation. He's going to be a very valuable piece to have in those minutes where you're without Steph or Clay. So I think that was the exact purpose for the Warriors on this one. And I think that it'll work out.
Yeah, I'm immensely excited to see how it plays out. I'm not as sold as Jonathan, but what I will say, is that the Warriors with Jordan Poole just wasn't working. I don't dislike Jordan Poole by any means. He's a pretty fun offensive scorer, but he did not fit well with the Warrior system.
Yeah.
And if you're going to play on a team like the Warriors and be successful and be good, you need to just play the Steph Curry game.
Yeah.
You need to support him. And a bunch of players who are very good but sacrificing whatever they do to support Steph Curry and that scheme is why they were in kind of a dynasty.
Yeah.
And I think Chris Paul is going to do a lot better of a job at helping facilitate that than Jordan Poole ever did. Because there were some bad moments with Jordan Poole last season where he was playing on the court with Steph Curry, taking stupid shots while Curry is calling for the ball at the last minutes of games, and just everyone getting pissed off.
Yeah, it was terrible.
And Draymond Green punching the shit out of him.
Yay, Draymond. I think my big thing was a couple weeks ago, and I don't know if this is still the case. There was a report that came out that said that the Warriors were planning on having Chris Paul start. And if that's the case, that's what concerns me, because I don't understand how that works for the Warriors. In my mind, the only way this works is if Chris Paul is acting as that sixth man. you shouldn't be turning over the point guard position from Steph Curry to Chris Paul. Also, playing Steph Curry at the 2 is just a mismatch made in hell.
Clay at the 3.
Yeah, and Clay at the 3. Like, it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that concerns me, is if they wind up getting in this mentality where it's like, oh, it's Chris Paul, we need to start him. I think Steve Kerr's smarter than that. But if they do, like, it could work, but I really just don't see it, like, being...
In the regular season, the pool party lineup did work. They started Jordan Poole with Steph Curry and Thompson, and it did work until the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then it was awful, and they weren't sustainable at all, and then had to move on and bench Poole. So, I could see it potentially working because somehow it did last season with Poole, but I agree. I think the best place for Paul to be is coming off the bench.
Yeah, for sure. All right, final question here. Of these trades, so of Chris Paul going to the Warriors, Marcus Smart going to the Grizzlies, Porzingis going to the Celtics, and Bradley Beal to the Suns, out of those 4, which team is going to be the happiest with the acquisition that they made at the end of the season?
I think Memphis.
Suns is the easiest answer. Honestly, if the Warriors use them correctly, I feel like this could be a huge addition for them, just because their bench was so trash. And it will be kind of one of those ones where, looking back, it won't even feel that important, that impactful. But, looking back a full year earlier and seeing, the disparity between the offense and the bench, or the starters and the bench, is going to prove that this was a pretty good move.
Agree with Micah. I think, in part, maybe just because John Morant is suspended, I think the Grizzlies will be very happy that they have Marcus Smart. And now
with how little they gave up.
Yeah, and now with also Steven Adams out, acquiring Marcus Smart, if they didn't have Marcus Smart, the Grizzlies' season could be lost here just from losing Adams and Ja.
Yeah.
And now having Marcus Smart along with Triple J, this sets them up decently to kind of stave off other teams until they get Ja back and can start competing again. So. Right now, again, beginning in the NBA season, we got to give you our NBA season award predictions. We're going to cover MVP, Rookie of the Year, DPOY, Coach of the Year, Sixth Man, and Leading Scorer. We will not be doling out the award for Clutchest Player in the NBA. I'm not even sure why they have a trophy for that, but they do.
I'm not sure why they have a trophy for that, and then also ignore all of the clutch statistics.
Yeah, so...
But Dame's going to win.
Yeah.
So we will first start out with MVP. Micah, hit us with your pick.
I think it's going to be Giannis. I think he's going to come out ready to play. I mean, he made his comments known during the offseason that he doesn't want to be on this team if they're not fully set to win. Having Dame with him, I think they're going to be an incredible team. I was surprised last season at how low he was third in the MVP race, but it was a distant third behind Jokic and Embiid. And a lot of his stats seemed comparable.
Yeah.
I thought he was the best defensive player out of the 3. I was surprised at how low he was. But this year, I think, especially with Dame and with that fire wanting to win, I think he's going to win.
Yeah. I think he was probably my second pick behind Jokic, who I think that the MVP voting at the end of last season sort of undid a lot of the voter fatigue against Jokic. Just the number of voters that came out after the fact and said, damn, I kind of regret not voting for Jokic, just will help to sort of stave off some of that fatigue that was building up a lot. And I think it's just going to be... I think he's just going to continue to show off his impressive offensive abilities and just his control over the entire team. So,
yeah. I'm going with Jason Tatum. Celtics are set up very well. I think Jrue Holiday now, especially having a just hard-nosed distributor now on that team, is going to help out Jason a lot. I think I see him taking a big step this season and truly leading that Celtics team. I see the Celtics as being one of the best teams in the league this year. So I think Jason could easily take that step, claim this award. Another situation, though, I don't hate either of you guys' picks, and it's kind of I could see any of these 3 guys maybe winning.
Yeah, these were my top 3 picks. I could easily see the Celtics being the best team in the league, and he's the best player on the team.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, back in the Harden Westbrook days when it was not the best player on the best team winning MVP awards, I feel like that mindset has now fully shifted, where the expectation is kind of back again to like it's going to be a top 3, top 4 team in the league. You're not going to see somebody in the freaking 10th seed or 8th seed winning the MVP award, which is nice to see.
I'm not sure we ever got that low, but you would get 6 seeds.
Russ won it when they were in 7th seed.
He also averaged a triple-double.
yeah, which was the first time since Oscar Robertson. It was
Yeah, but Oscar Robertson did it first.
so long ago.
All right, now over to Rookie of the Year. Micah, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Wemby.
Yeah. We saved him for you, too.
Yeah, like I was the last to make these picks, and I always like didn't look at yours before I made mine. I like went through, made my own pick, and then some of you guys did. I was like, seriously, I'm the only one who picked Wemby. And like, I get it. I understand that there's concerns that the Spurs are gonna like not play him a ton and rest him. Also, like, why would they? Like, you've got a rookie that's supposed to be generational. I know, like, with his stature, he's gonna be like injury prone, but like, this is the only thing going for you right now. Like, you want viewers, you want to see him play. And what he showed in the preseason was, and just everything he's ever done, is absolutely absurd. As long as he plays a decent amount of time, I think he's a shoo-in.
See, that's my counter, though, is that I think with his stature, with just the fact he has yet to put on true NBA weight and muscle, that he's going to have little tiny nitpicking. And I'm not going to predict him to have, like, some Greg Oden injury here. But at the same time, like, you say, why would they rest him? The Spurs, in all likelihood, aren't going to be playing meaningful basketball this year. Yeah. Like, if I'm Greg Popovich, if this dude shows up saying that he's sore, like, I consider not playing. Like, I do not want to get my new franchise cornerstone. Wouldn't want him to have some huge injury. So I could see the Spurs absolutely playing it safe with him. I could see him maybe like just barely missing out on the requirements for games played to get Rookie of the Year. And that's why I went with Scoot. Like, Scoot, in all likelihood, is going to play. He's such a hard nose. Like, he's a small guy. I see him playing it all. Now that Dame's gone, he's set up perfectly, especially since there's now a void. Because, like, I guess you can say that Anthony Simons is the Blazers' predominant scorer. But at the same time, it's kind of up for Scoot, Anthony, or Jeremy Grant to kind of claim that role. And if Scoot can do that, I could see him absolutely claiming the award this year.
Yeah, I think Wemby's the right pick here. But he's also a little bit of the boring pick, like generational talent, the best guy we've seen since Zion.
Thank you for proving my point that I was just making to Micah about injuries.
But my guy, who I've been singing praises of all offseason just because of, I think, an excellent scouting report, just excellent distribution, great size, great athleticism, is Bilal Coulibaly. And we've already seen signs in the preseason and training camp of this too. He's been contributing really well to the team, and he was a guy that was expected to be coming off the bench the entire year, and reports are that he's already won the job from Jordan Poole. So, it's different positions, but Jordan Poole was benched for Coulibaly in training camp.
They might both be starting. There's no way they're starting Bilal Coulibaly over Jordan Poole.
It seems unlikely, but yeah, that's what was happening during camp. So I think that this kid has a ton of potential and has a good chance of showing us that potential this year as well. Also, I just want to say, this might be my favorite of the new trophies. Having the 2-ball drill for the rookies is pretty clever. So
Yeah, it's good.
Yay. All right, Defensive Player of the Year. Again, we got all different picks. Jonathan, start with you.
This one's not a joke pick. Walker Kessler is going into his second year.
Oh, so Bilal Coulibaly's a joke to you?
This is one. So this is actually like Bilal Coulibaly at plus 10,000. Take him all day. Walker Kessler at plus 2,000. Take him all day for Depoy. He is a guy who, in his rookie season, showed a lot of like really impressive performances. for the Jazz, a team that is now missing their previous depoy center in Rudy Gobert. But Walker Kessler was averaging 2.5 blocks as a rookie with pretty limited minutes for the first half of the season. So really stepped it up in those later games as well. And he's just going to continue to improve and then be a problem, I think, on the interior. So, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that's a bad pick. It's kind of a black horse, but I can definitely see him do
Dark horse.
Dark horse, yeah. That's what it is. Whatever. My pick for defensive player, same as my MVP. I think Giannis is going to do it. He's won them both before. I think he's one of 2 players to ever do it. But part of the reason why I think he's going to win MVP is going to be for Milwaukee's defense.
Yeah.
Like, after losing Drew and getting a not good defensive guard, to say the least. Like, if Milwaukee's defense is, like, good and solid, it's going to be because of Giannis. And I don't think his offense is going to go down at all. And so if he's able to, like, produce a good defense, he will be the guy. And I think he has a great shot at winning this.
Yeah.
I like it. Except Giannis isn't going to win MVP, so clearly he can also win. I'm picking Evan Mobley because his name's Evan. Let's move on. Evan Mobley finished second in voting last year. Was absolutely phenomenal on defense. Very young guy. I think with another year under his belt, he's going to come out hard and fast for a Cavs team that last year really relied on their defense to be good, and I think they're going to ask him to continue to step it up. So I can see Evan Mobley absolutely coming in and taking this.
For sure.
Evans unite. All right. So unlike every other award previous to this, for Coach of the Year, we are all picking Mark Daignault of the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah.
I think it's because we're all thinking the Thunder are going to take a huge jump this year. I forgot to mention this earlier. I'm in my power rankings. I had the Thunder high. I'm now rethinking my having them miss playoffs thing. So I'm already taking the mental L on my predictions from that. But yeah, I think if the Thunder are able to make playoffs, especially if they're able to get a top 6 seed, it'll be Mark.
And I had them as a top 6 seed. I think I had them at 6. So
yeah, you've got a crazy young team with a lot of like rising stars and new talent that you're putting in. If they're a successful team, it's going to be because the coach put them all together and made them succeed.
He's also been doing a lot for like the pick and roll offense in the leagues too recently. So talking basketball, not us, another YouTube channel that I really admire just put out a video on him. So go check it out.
So boring that we all picked the same guy. Whatever. Congrats, Mark, on winning the award. Sixth Man of the Year. Yes, Micah and I have both picked ugly-ass Derek White to take the award this year. I believe he is actually currently the odds-on favorite to win it in most sports books. I'll go first, but I think if the Celtics are going to be one of the top teams in the league, you have to have a good bench. Derek White is the leader of their second unit right now, and I think Derek White is actually a very good player and a solid point guard. I'm glad he finally shaved his head because honestly, bald,
he's still ugly.
He's not as bad though.
It's still bad.
What reason do you have, Micah?
I mean, similar reason. Like, he looked phenomenal last season. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't still be great. He's obviously going to come off the bench for Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
And like, he's a good player, and I think he's the best person coming off the bench.
Yep.
I already talked about Chris Paul during the trade section. I think that he's going to be a huge factor for their bench, and just the Warriors will be a little bit transformed this season as a result of Chris Paul. So as long as he's used properly and is actually the sixth man, I think he's got a great chance to win it.
Yeah.
Fair. All right, now for the final prediction. Or no, two more. Never mind. NBA's most improved player, which such a weird award to predict because I'm not sure anybody fully understands exactly what the criteria is. Because some years it's like it's a guy that's been in the league for a decade that like has a better jump, and then some years it's a rookie who got better. So no one really knows. But Micah, let's start with you.
I'm picking Ben Simmons. And no, this is not because of the off-season footage that we get every year where he looks incredible just to do nothing. This is more a hope. I like Ben Simmons. I feel bad for the guy. He was a great basketball player before injuries, yips, all sorts of trouble, just being in the city of Philadelphia, which is the shittiest city in the world.
Houston says hello.
I mean, if you're talking fans, at least, they're awful. But I mean, the Nets are such a young, fun, kind of interesting team that I think is his opportunity to get back, be a leader, play well, be the guy. Besides Mikal Bridges, Mikal Bridges is the guy. But if Ben Simmons can actually be solid on defense and be an offensive player and actually score and do what a quote unquote point guard should do, I hope he wins this.
Yeah, Nuggets.
Yeah, Nuggets win. All right, Jonathan.
Best team in the league, baby. I mean, for a lot of the same reasons that you picked him for Depoy, I have Evan Mobley being the most improved player. I think that, like you said, really young, talented player that's going to continue to evolve. I think that he does have a decent shot at Depoy and an even better shot at contributing more on offense this year. And he's also one of those players that, just per the nature of his skill set and the team that he was on, he didn't get as much attention last year as he probably deserved. And I feel like a lot of players that wind up winning most improved are players that were good in their last season and just weren't really noticed. So he'll get more attention this year. He'll be even better and have a decent shot.
Yeah. Similarly for Paolo Banchero, I feel like rookies as a whole last year kind of flew under the radar. It was a little weird. Paolo actually had a very solid rookie season, but really wasn't talked about much at all, oddly enough. But I think he's kind of primed now with a Magic team who has a very young core. He is 100% kind of the leader and the best player on that team. I see the Magic taking a step forward, and I absolutely see Paolo Banchero taking a big step forward. I think he'll be able to put up some very solid numbers, especially if the other guys around him can also learn how to score. He might actually get some assists this season, which would be pretty cool. So, again, though, another situation where I could see any of these three guys winning it. I hope it's Paolo because I have him on my Dynasty basketball team, and I would love for him to give me more points. But all right, now for scoring leader in the NBA. Jonathan, let's start with you.
Shy Guy. I mean, he was so Shy Guy was fourth last year in points per game, and he's a young, talented player on a really strong offense that I think is going to, as a whole, the unit's going to see a lot of progress. So I expect him. One of two things is likely to happen. Either because the rest of the offense improves, his volume decreases a little bit, or more likely, he really evolves into the true leader of this offense and sort of takes another step up next year. He's got a little bit of a gap to overcome. He was probably 3 or 4 points per game behind Embiid last year, but I think that he's capable of doing it. I think Embiid will score less. So,
yeah, I really like that pick. I think Shy Guy is going to be incredible again, like he was last season, and especially with how he looked in the FIBA World Cup this year.
Yeah.
The guy just scores. That's all. Yeah. He's so good. My pick though is Dame Dalla. Because I had to pick him for something. And also, he had the best season of his career last season.
You didn't want to pick him for Depoy?
The Bucks definitely win a championship if he's Depoy.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt. No, he had the best season of his career last season. He was up there for highest scoring leader. And now he's actually going to be on a team that wants and can win. Obviously, Giannis could very well take a lot of points away from him, but I could also see him now he's the number 2 guy for the first time in his career. If people are going to focus more on Giannis than him, and if he's already scoring 30 points a game last season, being the guy, I can't imagine what he's going to do as the second guy.
Yeah, it's fair. I like it. Go Dame Dalla. I'm picking Luka purely because the Mavericks decided to get rid of every other contributor on the team besides him and Kyrie Irving. And none of us have the Mavericks as being ranked pretty high. but Luka Doncic is still Luka Doncic.
Oh, yeah.
And I see Luka coming in and realizing, I got to step it up if we're going to be able to compete for anything. So I can see Luka coming away this season with a lot of 30, 40-point games, just point stuffing to try and just carry that team to wins. I've kind of lost faith in Kyrie Irving a little bit as a fantastic scorer. He's just inconsistent, and he's Kyrie Irving. So I could see Luka just having plenty of moments where he just says, F it, I'm taking over, kind of the LeBron and Kobe mentality, and just pouring it on teams. Yeah. So I could absolutely see Luka coming away this season with it.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
All right, well, those are all of our picks for NBA awards. Obviously, because we picked Mark Daignault for all of us picked him for Coach of the Year, you should not bet on him to win that this year.
Definitely.
Because we are obviously all wrong. But for every other award,
one of us is right.
Yeah, one of us is right. So just bet on all of them, I guess, and see what hits. If you bet enough, technically you can't lose money if they all hit.
If you bet enough, you can't lose the bet.
Yeah.
You can still lose money.
Yes.
Don't take our advice on anything. We'll now shift over to our trivia segment, which Jonathan will be running this week. Scoreboard update. Micah and I both sitting at 2. Jonathan was 0. So Micah and I are competing this week to take sole ownership of the number 1 spot here. And especially going into Micah leading it next week, I would love to take that over. But we'll see. So Jonathan, take it away.
Yeah, so this week is going to be a little bit of a weird one. I am basically going to be asking questions that have sort of geographical answers. And I figured that a really fun way to do this would be to run it through the engine GeoGuessr.
Ooh.
But that would have cost us roughly $10 to do, and it wouldn't have supported everything I wanted, so I kind of made it myself.
And this podcast makes us no money, so
It makes us no money.
Please, share this with a friend.
Do it. Like, comment, subscribe. But basically the rules here are, I'm going to give you a question or a prompt or something, and the answer will be a stadium for either the NFL or the NBA.
okay.
And your goal is to find that stadium on Google Maps quicker than the other person. And proximity is the name of the game, and speed is the name of the game. So you basically, low score wins. You want to get the closest distance from the target.
Okay.
And after 5 seconds, every second that elapses, I'm adding 35 and a half-ish miles to your score. The reason for that number is after 30 seconds, it's the distance between Moda Center in Portland and Ball Arena in Denver. So just a sense of scale, every half a second is like that far every 30 seconds is that many miles added to your score. But that's just the gist of the rules. We actually took a short break there, if the audio sounds a little weird, in order to give them a couple of practice rounds. If you want to play along, go ahead and pull up Google Maps, and when I give you the prompt, try and like click as close to where you think the solution is as you can, and sort of see how you do. But we'll go ahead and get started here. Get ready. Put your drop downs to question 1, Micah and Evan. Mm-hmm. So the theme for question 1 is just find the NBA stadium that is based on the prompt. Let me know when you're both ready.
Good. I'm ready.
And be watching my screen because it'll pop up there when the timer starts, and then I'll read it.
Okay.
What is the northernmost NBA stadium? The correct answer is the Moda Center in Portland, Oregon.
Oh.
Yeah, Toronto is what Mike wound up going with here, and it is actually further south than Portland, which is just crazy to think about. Like, it's a Canadian city, and their phrase is "We the North." But yeah, Evan out to a massive lead to start this one.
Shit.
But plenty of opportunities to come back. The prompt for the second question is the exact same. They'll generally be themed in couplets, but for question 2, for even-numbered questions, it'll be NFL themed. So once again, just based on the prompt, are you both ready?
Yep.
Yep.
Did you fix your drop down?
Yep. Question 2, right? Yep.
Question 2. Ready, Here. The oldest active NFL stadium.
Fuck.
Dang, Micah, you barely beat me.
Coming back.
How? I just clicked on Green Bay, Wisconsin. Do you know how small Green Bay, Wisconsin is?
Right?
I clicked.
How was I that much further?
That was also a massive guess. I was like, I don't know, Packers.
I feel like that's really the only one
So-
that makes any sense, right? Like,
It was actually Soldier Field in Chicago, so it's the Bears Stadium.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It's been rebuilt. Like, they've remodeled it a ton, yeah.
All right. Are you both ready? The third question will be try to identify the NBA stadium based on the team logo. Now, this logo can be a secondary or alternate logo, and it can also be an old logo. So if it's an old logo, the correct answer will be where the stadium was when that logo was their logo.
Okay.
If it's a current logo, whether it's primary or alternate, it's just their current stadium.
Okay.
So, identify where this logo resides now.
I have no idea what team that is.
Right. I was shocked when I found this one.
I feel like there's one that makes sense. So I'm just going to go with that. And my mouse isn't letting me zoom in. What a perfect time for this to happen.
You were pretty close.
It was not. I was thinking it was something very different, but
Okay. So what were you both thinking for this one?
I guessed Oklahoma City because that kind of reminded me of the Mariners compass. So I was
Yeah.
thinking Seattle.
That's interesting.
I was thinking the Nets.
That would have been my guess as well, but no, it's the New Orleans Pelicans. So the
Really?
Smoothie King Center was the correct answer. This is a ship's wheel, which they think is thematic, and the N on the inside, with the outside of the wheel being the quote-unquote O. So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead and flip your thing over to question 4. This one is the same thing except for the NFL. So identify the logo and then try to find.
Confirm submission. Sorry, right?
You do not need to do that.
Okay.
You just need to go over to question 4.
Okay, I thought I could see Evans if I.
Oh, you can refresh and
Okay.
do that.
Cool. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah. But it did take away your question 4, so go ahead and get back to that.
I kicked your ass in the first one, though, Micah.
Yeah, but I don't see that.
Okay, are you both ready for the NFL logo?
Yes.
No.
Wha-bam. Did you both go for Baltimore?
No, I went
I
Indianapolis.
did Baltimore Colts. I don't know how I was so far away then. Oh, just time? Yeah.
Yeah. You were 2 miles away, but 11 seconds.
Time is bullshit.
Time is tough.
5 seconds, man?
I mean, the good thing is it's an equal time penalty, so it's really mostly a race. The 5 seconds is roughly like if you were to guess immediately, how long does it take you? But yeah, this is an old logo for the Colts back when they were in Baltimore,
I didn't know they were ever in Baltimore.
right?
Baltimore doesn't like to remember they were ever in Baltimore either.
So go ahead and flip your tabs over to question 5 now. And for the next 2 questions, the goal is where did this famous moment take place?
Okay.
The moment will be named, not photographed. So there will be a sort of an irrelevant photograph. Think of things like the Minneapolis Miracle, but not dead giveaways. And a big hint for this one, try to remember the moment, but the moment is famous for the performance of the away team. So if you remember who the moment was, it's not them, it's their opponent.
Okay, and you're saying it's the name, not the picture?
Right.
Okay.
The photo is just a generic NBA play drawn.
Okay.
Okay.
Congrats, Micah. You're winning this.
Are you ready?
Sure.
Go. You're looking for the shot.
Oh. Shit. That took a lot of time.
Evan guessed pretty much exactly what I probably would have.
I was guessing Detroit. Or I guessed around Michigan.
Gotcha. Yeah, so this is Michael Jordan's first ever buzzer beater. It's one of the few NBA plays that actually has a name, like a moniker associated with it, but it's so predominant that like you don't even have to add NBA to your Google search, or at least I didn't. And this took place against the Cleveland Cavaliers. So, you know,
I knew it was Jordan. I thought it was going to be like one of the playoff games against the Pistons.
I bet you. I said Utah.
Oh,
yeah. Utah was a good guess, but unfortunately really far away.
Damn it.
Yeah.
I think Mike is in the lead now.
Flip over to question 6 now. Same thing, except for an NFL stadium famous moment. And also different, hint, this one took place for the home team.
Okay.
So if you can remember what moment this was, just go with the home team. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Go. You're looking for the catch. Photographed here is Spider 2Y Banana. It was not the play that was run. Yeah, both of you...
What?
The catch was Jerry Rice. San Francisco.
I thought it was Stephon Diggs against the Saints.
No, that was, I believe, the Minneapolis Miracle.
Oh.
But...
Oh. I was closer.
You were closer.
There was a part of me that was like, should I just go Central? And I was like, nah. Should have just.
Where'd you bet?
I bet New York.
All right, flip over to question 7 now.
Oh my god.
This one is asking, where did this Hall of Fame NBA player start their career? So that's not necessarily who they're most famous for. In fact, I'll tell you, the jersey that they're photographed in is... I won't tell you that because I actually don't know that for sure. I don't remember what photograph I used. But I don't think that the photograph jersey is the correct answer.
Did this person like play for that team or just
Yes.
like... Okay.
They played for that team.
Okay.
In fact, if they were like traded on draft night or something, it's the team that they first played for in the NBA.
Cool.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Go. Oscar Robinson.
Okay.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, he played for a team that no longer exists, the Cincinnati Royals out of Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
It's a trick freaking question, you bastard.
It was. I was going through like trying to find the most famous player that was difficult to answer for, and it was him.
Yeah.
You're doing this with the NFL, that's a killer.
Gotta keep the symmetry, man. So where did this NFL Hall of Fame player start their career? Are you both ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
Randy Moss.
I feel like this is wrong. Nope, okay.
Nice. Yeah,
Oh, dang.
Evan nailed it. Minnesota Vikings, Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's probably one of the ones that he's most famous for being on too.
I don't know why I was thinking. I know he ended his career with the Raiders. I was thinking maybe he started with the Raiders too and then went to Minnesota, but I'm glad I picked Minnesota.
I mean, he was a journeyman, so 6
Yeah.
different teams is sort of where the challenge of this question comes from. But his most famous work was all done with the Vikings. So, question 9. We're going on to coaches now. Gotta end it a little bit challenging. Because otherwise, the disparity would just end the game right now if we made it easy questions. So, where did this Hall of Fame NBA coach start their career? Most likely as an assistant coach, or if they happened to start their NBA career as a head coach, where was that? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Phil Jackson. Had to go with the legend.
Or was he?
I know, dude.
30 miles a second, boys.
Oh shit! I was in question 8.
Oh, shit. And you were really far off.
Yeah, it was.
Did he pick the same thing I did?
No, he went in California.
Thank God I picked Chicago.
New Jersey Nets.
I didn't know he
Nets,
ever coached for the
really?
Nets.
It was as an assistant, yeah.
I knew he did. he was in California at the beginning.
He was in LA.
Maybe he coached college in California. Maybe that's what you were thinking of. I wouldn't be surprised with Phil Jackson's demeanor if he was a California boy.
Yeah, I also was tempted to go with Pop here because his is interesting. He left the Spurs, but he started with the Spurs, and then he came back.
All right, I'm going to need to get a great one here.
Yeah. Question 10. NFL coach. Where did they start their career? Are you ready?
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
You're good.
I'm too stressed.
3, 2, 1. Don Shula. Dolphins legend, but he was not always a Dolphin.
Let's go.
Yeah, so he started his career with Baltimore Colts. It's 2 times that's the answer to this to a question here, and looks like Evan came away with the victory.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Evan. Hope y'all like this segment. It was
That was really fun.
it was more effort than it should have been.
I understand the hours of work that went into this now.
Yeah.
For those of you who, I don't think that I'm going to show a lot of screenshots, although please take another one of this. I made like a whole web interface for them. So, the end.
That was stressful.
That was really stressful.
Good job, guys.
Thank you. Cool. Well, thank you, Jonathan, for running that segment. Feels good to be going into Micah's time running it.
Please win the next one.
Love to see
I
it.
want to.
I'll give you all the answers ahead of time.
Okay, cool.
All right. Hey.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, now to wrap things up for the evening, we'll finish off with Sportsbook Showdown, and we'll start with Jonathan, your first bet of the week.
Yeah, so I'm going with a couple of money lines here for my first 2 bets. The first one being Wizards, Rockets, and Cavs. Kind of a boring bet with a lot of teams that aren't necessarily super exciting this year. Although I like aspects of all of them. Bilal Coulibaly going to be a lot of fun to watch. The greens on Rockets are going to be fun, and then just the entire Cavs roster. We all had them as the 3rd seed this year, so got shockingly good odds considering that I don't think super highly of their opponents in these matchups. So plus 1353, 2 units down.
I like it. Micah, over to you.
My first bet is an NFL parlay. I've got the Jets, Vikings, and Texans beating out the Giants, Packers, and Panthers. What's the word? When you like 3 things and then 3 things, respectively. We can cut that. These are all like pretty close to even odds against teams that I think are significantly worse than the ones that are being played.
Okay, come on.
Boom, roasted.
So I feel good about this bet, which means it's going to lose terribly.
Oh, yeah.
So I put 2 units on it at plus 424.
I think I just lost brain cells. All right, for my first bet of the week, I'm going Wednesday night game slate parlay. I'm picking the Celtics, Hawks, Pacers, and Magic on a parlay. That's plus 540, putting a unit down on that.
I should probably specify mine was for Wednesday as well.
Yeah. All right, Jonathan, your second bet.
Yeah, so NFL now. Again, 3-game parlay. I got the Saints, Texans, and Vikings. Couple of really solid odds there in my mind. Plus 533. Don't take it. I'm losing every bet this year.
All right, Micah, what bet is going to lose now?
This losing bet is also on the Wednesday slate of basketball games. I got Celtics beating the Knicks, Thunder beating the Bulls, and Timberwolves beating the Raptors. Again, all pretty close to even odds with teams that I think are significantly better than their opponents. So this is plus 482, and I put another 2 units on that.
I like it. For my second one, I got a Wednesday night underdog parlay. I'm picking the Pelicans to beat the Grizzlies, especially now with Steven Adams out. And I am picking the Spurs to beat the Mavericks because I have absolutely zero faith in the Mavericks. And also, it's Wemby's opening night. He's scoring 80 points.
Yeah.
That's plus 408, putting 2 units on that. Let's go underdogs. All right, Jonathan, finish it off with your third bet.
Yeah, I had to put in at least one of my predictions from the season awards. So I wound up going with Walker Kessler just because he has pretty good odds right now. plus 2,200. And really my whole hope is that these end of season, like really long-term bets are what's going to maybe bring me back in this competition. So I got to keep going for them. Plus 2,200, 1 unit.
All right. Micah.
Similarly, I also placed a bet on one of the awards that I picked earlier this episode. So I've got Ben Simmons winning the most improved player. It's plus 4,000, which I think is a lot better odds than what it should be. I get that it's Ben Simmons, and who's like, it's hard to say that a former All-NBA player is going to be the most improved, but based on where he's been the last 3 seasons, I think he's got a shot. So plus 4,000, 1 unit.
I was ahead of the game last week and already put in my award prediction bet because I had the gift of foresight and I am a genius. My third bet is going to be an NFL Week 8 total points parlay. So for the Buccaneers-Bills game, I'm picking them to go under 42.5 combined points. Eagles-Commanders over 43.5, and Patriots-Dolphins over 47 points. It's coming in at plus 595, putting 2 units on it. Justification is that the Buccaneers and the Bills have both really been struggling offensively.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be shocked if they both kind of finish in the teens. Eagles, Commanders, on the other hand, Eagles have been very good offensively.
I think Commanders could do that.
Yeah,
themselves.
I think the Eagles can score 44 on the Commanders pretty easily. And then Patriots, Dolphins. If Patriots play like they did against the Bills, this should not be an issue.
Yeah.
So this might be my favorite one that I'm putting in this week. Hopefully it hits because I need to keep extending that lead. So, all right, well, that'll do it for this episode. If you are enjoying the content, please like and consider subscribing so that you can see all of our updates when we post new episodes. And
Evan, what is your hot take? You never do one.
The Green Bay Packers will not be winning another game this season. They're going to finish 2-15.
And they'll still miss out on the Caleb Williams lottery.
Well, that's why it's Sad Boy Hours. Good night, everybody.
Good night.